and welcome to the Studio Demands It, an exercise in creative thinking where we will challenge ourselves to conceptualize, pitch, and craft a film based on the demands of a hypothetical studio.
Hypothetical Hollywood
overlord. Yes. We talk movies all the time.
All the time.
And as professional screenwriters ourselves and avid cinephiles, we'd like to believe we can meet the demands thrown at us from any direction of any type. We will be your screenwriters for this episode. I am TC Witt, and joining me, as always, is Jim virtually Burzelic.
Yep. So, I mean, I'm not here virtually though. I'm actually here.
You're virtually Jim Burzelic. You're almost?
I'm entirely.
The thing is, as I had that Oculus on for so long that everything still sort of feels fake.
So now you don't know what's
so I don't know if you're real.
What's real anymore?
You're very polygonal.
Yeah.
That's so strange.
Yeah. People have said that about me.
Yeah.
That I'm polygonal.
Polygonal?
That sounds terrible.
You have many shapes?
Many sides.
Many sides. Okay. Like a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Pepper kind of thing?
Yeah.
Dr. Pepper, Mr. Hyde. Ah.
Yeah.
Ah. So you sat and watched me play the Oculus for,
I did.
I don't know how long I was doing, but I was playing this what is it called? Actually, it's Battleground. It's like a Halo.
Yeah,
shoot 'em up
that's
thing.
What you just kept saying. It's Halo.
It's Halo.
I'm in Halo.
I'm a Halo. And man, it's so great. We've been playing this thing for a couple days now, just because I borrowed it from a friend, and I'm like, this is incredible. This is incredible. But then I pointed out that's how we felt about like the Xbox or the PlayStation 2. We're like, it'll never get better than this.
Every new generation, it gets better. Yeah.
Like trying to go back and playing like GoldenEye on the 64, you can't even jump in that games, and you're using
what's the use if you can't jump?
You're playing that wonky controller, and the amount of hours I played that with my friends in high school, and to go back and try it now, it's just technology's advanced so much that it's silly. Even like Halo 1 and Halo 2, like the games have gotten progressively better. So seeing what this is at now, and I'm just like, I'm literally like pretending I'm pressed against a wall, and like I don't know what I looked like. I don't even know if you were paying attention. You're probably just on your phone, just like, TC.
Yeah. Look at you go.
You shoot them.
Yep. you get them good.
But this is the second time we've had one of these and played with them, and the second time you've gone, oh man, I'm gonna buy this now.
I'm gonna do it.
Are you?
Yeah. Gonna give Meta my money.
You know, they used to be Facebook.
What?
Did you know that?
No, I thought it was this brand new company.
They just came out of nowhere?
With someone else named Mark Zuckerberg. I thought it was real coincidental.
He should have put a mustache on him and Zark Muckerberg.
Yeah.
I'm not Mark. I'm Zark.
I'm Mark Zuckerberg.
Wait a minute. I think that's the same guy.
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg. Oh man. No, it's fun. Like it's fun. Like it's so sci-fi. I say this often where it's like when people complain about like, oh, we're the flying cars and we're the hoverboards, and I just think that's silly to complain about because of what we have access to.
Sure.
At our fingertips. We can like look
all of the information of the world in our pocket.
Yeah.
And
but I don't have a hoverboard.
We now have glasses that transport us to another reality.
Yeah, but where's my hoverboard?
Yeah, that's the thing that's important is the hoverboard.
Yeah, the Back to the Future.
You're going to literally break your hip the moment you step on it.
Back to the Future lied to me.
That was the benchmark.
That was it.
1985's The Back to the Future.
They promised me
the benchmark for the future.
They promised me hoverboards in Back to the Future 2. Where are hoverboards? Huh?
In the future.
No, we're past 2012 or 2015. 2015. You did the plank where you walked out on the plank to like come down, and you.
What? Yeah.
Tell us about that, Jim. Tell us about that experience.
It was terrifying, is what it was.
I'm throwing you down.
Like everyone's like, it's not real. Just step off the plank. Like it looks real to me. Like I was anticipating, the feel of dropping, and the thing is, eventually, I didn't do it properly. I cheated, if you will.
And it was A joy to watch.
And the way I cheated was I didn't just step off the plank. I sat down. I felt the floor around me where the sky was. And then I scooted. I scooted out into the thin air.
And then fell.
And it wasn't as scary as I thought doing it that way because I felt the ground. But also the fall, it didn't feel like when you fall, it wasn't immediate gravity. Like there was a weird acceleration to it. So then I tried it again, and I tried it on my knees, and then I finally stood up, and I finally was able to do it.
And what I did is right when you did the stand, when I pushed you, and you just
yes, did not appreciate being pushed.
No, I did not do that. That would have been very mean.
Yeah, the whole walking that plank, man. So doing that made me realize something.
What's it?
I'm an armchair adventurer.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch a lot of TV and stuff, and I'll think I'll try to put myself like, if I really needed to, like if I had to, or if just I really had the opportunity available, if someone like gave me free skydiving lessons and just go do it,
go Jim.
I like sitting there on the couch. I'd imagine and I can imagine a very brave, cool version of myself
sunglasses,
going and doing that, and like feeling that adrenaline and enjoying that, and then doing it. And I could be a cool guy like that. Mm-hmm. This virtual reality experience has proven that is not this Jim.
Give me your aviator sunglasses back.
Here you go.
You're not cool.
No.
There you go. You know what? I can get you. I'll solve skydiving for you. We'll strap you to an armchair.
No.
And then push that out the plane.
No, that doesn't.
You're in the armchair. You're safely sitting. You're planted firmly in your cushy armchair and just soaring at 1,000 feet.
So actually...
That's very short. I'm sorry. I just pushed you out of plane at 1,000 feet. We haven't even reached max altitude yet.
I also realized looking off of that plank into the virtual sky, what I compared it to, because the same feeling happens. I know I'm mostly safe on a roller coaster, for example, but I do not like the sensation of my stomach going up into my throat.
That's my favorite. I
hate it.
Up and down and so big drop roller coasters. I do not like the loop-a-de-loops.
And I'm the reverse. If I could do a roller coaster that was just loops and corkscrews, that would be the best. I'll give you a like little bunny hills as a part of it, but I do not like the drops.
I think I'm understanding what your ideal roller coaster would be, not the loop de loops, because I think I know what your ideal roller coaster. It's a straight monorail, just a straight.
Everyone be ready to be transported from over here to over there. Thank you.
Just a fair warning, the track will curve at some points, but no ups and downs, no loop-a-de-loops, just monorail. Monorail.
Okay. I thought you were going to use that as a transition.
I was using that as a transition.
I was just going to say a good example of what I would really enjoy would be bobsled.
Oh, sure.
A bobsled course.
Yeah.
Those look so fun.
That makes me think of the luge and Jerry Seinfeld's joke about he doesn't think the luge should count as
luge
as a
really fun too.
Olympic thing, because you could strap someone to a sled and shove them down it against their will, and they're like, world record. Didn't even want to do it. Monorail. Yes, I was teeing this up,
and then I was letting you. But yeah,
I felt you take a breath to continue the. I'm like, I'm not gonna step on this gag. I'll let comedy live. But now we've talked about it. Well, we have demands from literally all over the world from you amazing listeners. And you can submit your demands over at studiodemandsit.com, where you get to name your studio, or on Twitter at Studio Demands It. You can send us any demand you'd like, and we will have to make something up right here on the spot. So thanks to everyone who's submitted. Keep them coming. And I've hinted to Jim at what our subject matter is going to be today by finding a way to take that long conversation about Oculus to railroads or roller coasters to monorails. So this is from Paul, and I got this through Twitter. So, mates, I did a thing a few months ago. I watched every episode of The Simpsons.
Oh my God.
This includes the Disney shorts and the movie. It does not include the Ullman era stuff, which I have seen before. That said, I have seen all 700 plus episodes. There's 700 episodes of The Simpsons, 700 plus episodes of The Simpsons, and I have my thoughts. But I'll say this, modern Simpsons is better than you think. It struggles with being a comedy show that started 3 decades ago, given that comedic standards and what is acceptable has changed so much. The Simpsons will eventually end. My demand is this. Write the series finale of The Simpsons. After decades, how do you end this show? How can this come to a fulfilling conclusion? Great show, mates. Thank you, Paul. Thank you for sending that in. And Jim, there we go. The Simpsons.
That's over 256 hours.
You did the math.
Simpsons. Yeah. It's 15,400 minutes.
Well, good on you, man, for doing that. Let's see here. So I loved The Simpsons when I was growing. I wasn't allowed to watch it when it first started because it was, Bart talks back to his dad.
Same, but not for the same reason.
Why weren't you allowed to watch it?
My mom just didn't like cartoons.
Wow, that's a shame.
She liked like Looney Tunes and things like that. She liked quote unquote cartoons for kids, but didn't care for like primetime cartoon stuff.
So no Flintstones for you either, huh?
Nope.
Because that was that primetime adult comedy, animated comedy. No go, sir. I eventually started watching it once it hit syndication in my high school years, and I watched it every night. There was like 2 episodes a night, 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I never really watched the Sunday episodes. I was usually doing something or whatever. But I watched every night falling asleep on my 12-inch TV, 2 episodes of The Simpsons, and I loved it. I got 2 of the encyclopedias when it was like in its 10th, 11th season or so. Mm-hmm. And eventually just time being what it was, responsibilities, hanging out, whatnot, I just stopped watching the show. And I would go back to it from time to time. When the movie came out, I genuinely enjoyed the movie.
Sure.
I thought it was great. They had upped the animation style. They did a couple jokes that they could never have done on TV throughout their few decades on the air. And I've gone back from time to time, and it's still good. It's still funny. It's still sharp when it's, as our listeners just told us, it is better than we think it is. But it has crossed my mind that eventually the show's going to end. I haven't given any thought of what exactly I would do to end it, which is what we're going to do here. But what's your relationship with The Simpsons?
I mean, pretty much that. I also
are you still not allowed to watch it?
No, I'm not.
Oh my gosh! Is your mom going to be mad?
She just thinks it's really boring.
Oh my gosh!
No,
I don't know. People take a point of pride sometimes to be like, I've never seen an episode of The Simpsons. That's not the flex you think it is, and also odd that you've never seen. I've never seen an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, so I suppose it's not so insane.
I have seen enough of that for both of us as well.
Good, but anyway, what's your Simpsons?
It's really similar. I had an extracurricular activity every Sunday night from like 8 years old to 18. So I did not get to see many Sunday night episodes, but I would watch them whenever I could. Part of the reason I always prefer doing that is because for a while, I don't know if it's been for the entire length of The Simpsons, but they would have gags that would be on the original airing date,
but not in the syndication.
And then in the syndication, they would eliminate like a joke, or they would change a joke. The one that I remembered because I saw air live, it's one I will always remember is Milhouse's dad is driving in a convertible and he holds up a sandwich and he goes, "They didn't cut my sandwich in half." And a thing had happened that pulled a line taut across the road. And you think, oh, it's right. The obvious gag is, the line's going to cut the sandwich. And it cuts his hand off. And he goes, because he's just lost his hand with the sandwich. And in syndication, I can't remember if they just took the joke out entirely. I think they actually changed it to where the sandwich gets cut.
Interesting. And I do know that there are gags that some of the episodes on Disney Plus do have those extra couple seconds or even a minute or two. Maybe not a full 2 minutes, but That's cool. I was not aware fully that there were full gags and jokes cut. All right, so we're gonna pause here and
So
watch
that
all
means
700.
you have
episodes.
to go. Yeah.
Oh no! Just me?
Yeah,
You're
just because
gonna-
clearly I've seen them,
Well, what we can do is I'll put the Oculus on and watch them that way,
and I'll
you
watch
have to
you
watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That would be a fun virtual reality game.
what?
Walking around Springfield.
Oh, virtual Springfield?
Yeah,
Hell yeah! I'll do that. I mean, I've gone to Universal Studios and they have Springfield.
they do,
right?
and that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, you can go to Moe's Tavern, you can go to Krusty Burger, the police station,
And they have the VR ride.
And now the thing is about that VR ride, though I appreciate the seat shaking aspect of it, that Universal Studios in Florida can't do a lot of roller coasters because of how small the land is. They do a lot of those moving seats. I'm
Sure.
moving my seat like the listeners can see it.
In Florida, they have more space, I think.
Yes,
In
but the one
California.
in California, yeah,
Yeah.
And I didn't like the animation of The Simpsons on the ride because it was 3D ish, but the animation's so good on the show now, and it's just a little better than Homer in 3D from like season 5, where he's like, oh wow, look at this. I'm not gonna do a Homer.
I disagree. I really enjoy. Yes, it feels like you are a cartoon living. Like it feels 3D, but not like polygon shape type 3D. Like they're obviously still like each character is 2-dimensional.
Yeah,
there is a depth of field.
I have a little trouble perceiving 3D, so that's another element to it. But regardless, it's very fun, and being in Springfield's great, and having a virtual reality walk around in Springfield would be great. But let's consider. Okay, let's
get to not get obsessed with the video games
Yes.
we've been playing recently. Yeah.
I want to do two things. First, I found Entertainment Weekly did a list last year that they've been updating over the decades, actually, of the best episodes of The Simpsons. This is obviously just one opinion, and if your favorite episode of The Simpsons is not on this list, it's totally one of ours too, and we also would have put it on the list. Just want to state that for the record. Jim agrees with me, right?
I am agreeing.
Yeah. Okay. So I feel like I could just blow through this real quick and I'm not going to do the full like readings of these and whatnot, but like for example,
what about just top 10?
I do top 10. I'll do 25 to 10, just reading the titles and see if anything pops out at you, because they're immediately on here is like, oh yeah, 100% great episode.
Okay.
I don't recognize this one. It's from 2003 called The Regina Monologues, and it's The Simpsons going to London. My Fair Lady, James Bond references.
Oh, yeah, I remember. They go to London.
Yeah.
It's their they go to London episode.
The London adventure. Okay, so 24 is You Only Move Twice. That's the Hank Scorpio episode.
Okay.
Great episode. James or Albert Brooks doing the voice of Scorpio. 23, Lisa's First Words. Lisa's First Word. 22, Hurricane Neddy. 21, Who Shot Mr. Burns, Part 1 and 2. Man, I remember that whole thing about trying to solve who. That's one of those early viral marketing campaigns, like viral tie-ins.
Yeah.
20, Radio.
Well, it was if I remember right, it was a viral tie-in, but it was also a classic season cliffhanger.
Oh yeah, because was it Dallas? Who Shot JR?
That was one. I don't. Yeah. Oh, it was that the very first TV cliffhanger?
Well, Who Shot Mr. Burns very much spoofed.
It was spoofing.
Who Shot JR.
Yeah. But I'm just thinking of a lot of shows would have season finales, which were cliffhangers to get you to come back after the summer.
Right. And I know some people say like that's jumping the shark, but there was an episode of Happy Days where Fonzie literally jumped a shark, and it was the best episode of that show.
That's where the term comes from. Yes.
That's totally. That's a community. It's a community. Actually, that's worth pausing for a second. I think a lot of shows like Community and Parks and Recreation, Always Sunny in Philadelphia, in a lot of ways feel like The Simpsons in their world building. Right? Like Parks and Recreation is Pawnee is an entire town. Mm-hmm. They have their Shelbyville, one town over, that gets absorbed into Pawnee. Mm-hmm. Community has that whole school and just all the little characters that are built up. Mm-hmm. And I know Simpsons didn't create the ensemble cast, but it did It's been on for so long, and it's created such memorable characters that you can do full episodes of Chief Wiggum.
Yeah, their ensemble cast is not a family and their neighbors. It's an entire town.
Yeah.
Not even like shows like Malcolm in the Middle was like you got to meet the family and then their friends and like Malcolm's classmates and some of their family. But like
Still very small.
Simpsons was more than even just a neighborhood. It's an entire town.
It's the whole of Springfield, and it's amazing that they have.
South Park's the only other. Well, no, like you said, actually, a bunch of shows have done that now as well.
Sure. But I do think Simpsons sort of was a forerunner for a certain type of TV show and comedy that we've gotten since. Family Guy, South Park, you mentioned, even has an episode. Simpsons did it. Simpsons did it. There's so much about what The Simpsons has done over 30 decades that's a lot of defining of TV comedy.
You kind of can't help but define TV when you're on that long.
It's an institution. Simpsons is not a show; it's an institution.
Yeah,
and it is wild to think that eventually the show will end. Although I think the voice actors have said every word in the dictionary or every syllable necessary to program their voices,
and we have technology to replicate the words that they haven't said.
Yeah.
And there's also other voice actors who can do impressions.
Sure. Speaking of voices, Radio Bart, when Bart fakes falling down the well.
Sure.
Number 19, The Simpsons spinoff showcase. Great episode. Yeah. Flamin' Moe's, the Itchy and Scratchy Land episode, which I referenced tonight. Whenever I park somewhere, I always say, everyone remember we parked in the Itchy lot. Homer at the Bat, which it's the softball episode where the MLB strike was happening. Homer at Bat, that song I used to audition for a musical in college.
Oh yeah,
that and Canyonero. I sang both those songs.
Wow, nice. I used Weird Al songs.
Number 15, 22 short films about Springfield. Another amazing, and that's crazy that was from 1996, and they had already established so many characters in Springfield that they could literally do in 22 minutes, 22 stories.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Let's see. 14, The City of New York versus Homer Simpson, which is one that they pulled from the air for a while because the two towers are in that episode. The joke I remember for that is, hey, I'm thirsty. Can I get a drink? Oh, what do you got? I got crab juice and Mountain Dew. Ew, gross. Give me the crab juice. 13, I Love Lisa. 12, Duffless. Number 11, The Last Temptation of Homer. And all right, so the top 10 here. These are the top 10 episodes of The Simpsons. Treehouse of Horror 5. The Treehouse of Horror episodes are as inconsistent as Grandpa's bladder. Welcome to the exception. The Shining parody brimming with such detail, comic timing. No beer, make Homer go something. Go crazy? Don't mind if I do. Time and punishments in there. Number 9, Mr. Plow. Number 8, The Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie Show. Number 7, Homer's Phobia. That's with the John Waters episode where he's homophobic.
I don't think I know I've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't remember that gag.
He hangs out with John Waters and he's like, oh, we should hook John up with a very lovely girl. Homie, I don't think John wants to hang out with girls. Oh, what are you talking about? He's a ho, mo, sexual, homosexual. Wait, what? 6, Lisa the Vegetarian. Just a little airborne. Number 5, A Fish Called Selma. That's the Planet of the Apes episode. Oh my gosh. Number 4, Rosebud, Mr. Burns episode. Number 3, Last Exit to Springfield. Which one is this? I actually don't remember.
Isn't that Monorail?
No. This episode is virtually flawless. The product of a series at its height, its creative powers, when the satire was savage and relevant, when names like John Schwartzwelder, George Meyer, and Conan O'Brien were relatively unknown, when Maud Flanders lived. So it is that we find America's favorite family painless. Dentistry becomes Oh, that's it.
Dental plan.
Lisa needs braces. There you go. Number 2, Cape Fear. Sideshow Bob
Oh,
episode.
that is a really good episode.
And number 1 is Marge versus the monorail.
Oh,
Monorail.
okay.
Monorail. It's hard to disagree with a list like that. And I know that's sort of indulgent for us to sit here and just list off, but I think it's important to acknowledge 30 years of a TV show and try to pinpoint.
We listed 1/28th of all the episodes.
But okay, so listen off those. We are familiar with a lot of these gags. I was able to throw quotes out for a bunch of those episodes and whatnot. I recognize all but that first one as great Simpsons episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, and you've asked this before. How do you end a sitcom? How do sitcoms end? What are ways that this show could even come to a conclusion?
Yeah. I think I've come up with a decent idea.
Which is why I've babbled at you for 15 minutes to give you some time to percolate some ideas of shows that have gone this long, of shows that even have gone a fraction of this. There are specifically sitcoms. You got Cheers. Newhart has one of the all-time greats finales by calling back to the previous Newhart show. But a lot of sitcoms fizzle out and they don't have the impact. Seinfeld, we've certainly have things to say about that. Friends had a great finale in terms of like, you know, where are all these characters going to go from here? It's very fulfilling to Friends fans. Big Bang Theory.
I mean, let's just get it out right away, because we did just say that the voices could be digitally created, or just other voice impressionists could come in and do voices. They technically could keep going on forever until the show does fizzle.
Yeah, and I mean, Fox keeps signing them up for new seasons, right? They just keep going. Family Guy as well, American Dad as well, South Park as well. There's something about these shows that they can just keep making them. But Simpsons in particular, it is the longest running scripted American television series
ever.
It's amazing.
To date.
Lisa needs braces.
How
do you end it?
So I was giving that some thought. My first thought was you go out big, right? Like you do some big crazy event. Like this isn't actually what I would want to do, but I was thinking like, oh, what if because this is crazy depressing.
Yeah.
Like what if the nuclear power plant like exploded or had a meltdown or something like that. And like so right, like the whole it's all gone. So we can't do anymore, and that's why it's over.
Right.
But I don't actually know that The Simpsons haven't done
it. That could have been in one of their Treehouse of Horrors.
It could have, yeah.
Because we certainly do not know all these episodes. And and that just feels like another episode.
Yeah. So as I was trying to decide, the other thing that I would want to do with The Simpsons that a lot of sitcoms, like, for example, we were talking about how Seinfeld is an unsatisfying ending. I know you and Danny decided the second to last episode is for you the true ending.
The second to last scripted episode.
Oh, that's
is Puerto Rican Day Parade. That feels like the last episode of the series because they do a retrospective the next episode and then the finale is the finale. And I think that Puerto Rican Day episode is some of the best. It shows just how good that show got and how good those characters are defined. And there's something that does that I feel is more suited for The Simpsons is to have a very big going away, like final episode, but don't put an ending. Like if we pan away from the house as the family is sitting on the couch watching TV, which is, I'm being honest right now, sort of just choked me up.
Yeah.
Like
that would actually be really good.
It almost just kind of got me.
Reversing out of the house
and doing
out of the garage
up into the clouds.
Yeah.
Woo, that's actually like getting to me right now.
Seeing the tire fire. Doing
the opening credits in reverse might be how you end the show because then they are there forever. They will exist forever.
Sure, but so I agree. That's a great shot to go out on, but that's not what the final episode is about.
What's the final?
And I have some ideas. Now, a part of that is also like thinking about where I started going is like, well, other shows about families and how did those shows end? And honestly, they usually end because the characters that you follow kind of get too old and move out of the house, and
Right.
it's this coming of age tale all kind of coming to an end. And I realize the show has transitioned from focusing on the children to focusing on Homer. So a coming of age tale isn't quite the same thing, although it kind of can be.
Mhm.
But Simpsons has also done a whole lot of different episodes where they're like, in the future, 10 years later.
Right.
So
President
we can't really
Lisa,
do that
yeah.
because
They've done it.
because they've done it. If you go and do it again, it's like, well, okay, which one is the real one, and how is this different from another episode? So that's not really the way to do it. So the idea I hit upon is to actually, in the last episode, actually move time forward. I asked you before we started how old Bart was. Has he been
10.
the same age the whole time?
He's 10 years old. Yeah.
And so my idea kind of revolves around that. Bart turns 11.
Mm-hmm.
Bart, and so it's the episode. The episode would be about everyone ticking up just that one bit, right? Everyone gets a little bit older. Bart moves into middle school. He's sort of in middle school now.
Yeah,
not
he's in fourth grade. 10 years old would be fourth grade, so he moves to fifth grade.
He actually goes to. I would have him go to a middle school. I would have Maggie would
go
be
to
put into kindergarten or a preschool, so something like that. And I would that's sort of I guess the big motion, like there's nothing funny about that, but sort of that's what I would have happen
to the characters.
Yeah, to the characters. And we would kind of tour the town and see everyone and kind of revisit their kind of major gag and how that then moves forward without, being over the top terrible, like, oh, Mo is forever alone. So does he like finally bite that bullet, or no, he just continues alone?
I'll give you Mo's ending. I'll give you Mo's ending right now. It's literally just done.
Okay.
He goes to the door, he flips the switch, someone knocks on the door and he says, "Sorry, we're closed," which is the end of Cheers.
Oh,
That's the last line.
Oh,
Cheers.
nice.
And then he sits there a moment looking at his bar and he says, "Sorry, we're closed." And then from the dark he'd be like, "What do you mean you're closed?" "Bonnie." And then he just, "Fine, we're open." And then he flips the light back on, then goes behind the bar and Barney's there and he serves him a drink.
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
So I know that the show has done those, we've seen the family age, like we see President Lisa in an episode. There's a Christmas episode from, I couldn't tell you when, from a number of years ago, where we get to see through photographic montage every Christmas for like 15 years.
Sure.
And you see like Maggie becomes Lady Gaga, essentially.
Sure.
She becomes a pop star, and Lisa gets married and has a couple kids, and Bart has a couple kids, and it's this, and then the episode, the Christmas special, is about Bart and Lisa's kids. And right. So they have advanced age more than once. So probably 10 times at this point.
Yeah. Which is why I didn't want to do
a big jump.
A 10 years later type thing.
I like where your head's at, that we're just seeing just the needle move a little bit. And I think that's an interesting idea. I had always considered that an idea would be, I Simpsons on long enough to think of ideas of starting to progress time, that a whole season would be serialized instead of a singular, like, because the shows are very much contained one at a time, to do a season arc. If Simpsons started doing season arcs, then there's more you can do, because you advance Bart to the next grade, Lisa to the next grade, let Lisa skip 2 grades, because they've done that on the show before, where she's in Bart's grade and it's humiliating. Like suggesting that the final season of The Simpsons would advance just a year later, like letting them grow up one more year.
That would give us a whole season to play around with this notion, rather than summing up everyone in one episode. Yeah. So maybe that is the way to go.
Another movie.
The only reason I wouldn't want to do that is because I feel like South Park did that. South Park started doing serialized kind of things where entire seasons were following specific storylines.
They could acknowledge it and have a character say, "South Park did it."
Sure. Yeah. You hit. I think it would be kind of fun, like you said. Mo does a variation of Cheers ending to kind of do that around town with everyone. Like everyone has a different sitcom ending,
like a famous sitcom ending or a famous series ending. Like doing the having Fat Tony walk into one of the cafes
and he's eating,
playing,
and then
Don't Stop Believing,
and Wiggum walks behind him or something into the bathroom, and then it just cuts to black.
And then pan out, and Homer's like trying to get the TV on. He's like, oh, what's wrong with this thing?
Yeah.
Again, I'm not going to try to do a Homer impression.
Yeah.
And it's like, or like it blacks out, and then you cut to another character who's like installing a new light bulb. Like, oh, there you go, lights back on. That's fun. There's something to that, to just take like all the greatest TV show endings of all time and Simpsonize them. Which
actually, now that we said that, they had to have already done that with so many.
Surely. I mean, they going all the way to earlier seasons when Krusty Gets Canceled is the episode that recreates a Johnny Carson special by having Bette Midler sing Wind Beneath My Wings to Krusty. That's exactly what she did to Johnny Carson. So they've been in this territory before.
Yeah.
Very much. There's a very good chance that they've already spoofed the ending to Cheers or spoofed the ending to Sopranos. But The Simpsons has redone premises. This is the premises unto themselves. Like even going back and doing a show that's similar to an episode from 20 freaking years ago. So it's their Simpsons did it to themselves kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where South Park is struggling to come up with a premise because Simpsons did it. Simpsons is having a little trouble because Simpsons did it. But yeah, like this is a weird ask. Now that I'm really considering what we're being asked to do here.
Because I thought I don't know why I didn't have them prepared. I thought this episode was going to be full of all kinds of jokes and gags, and
here we are, like coming up these.
It's kind of somber.
Well, saying goodbye to these characters, surely laying down the premise and going, this is the premise that they exist in, and now let's fill it with as many gags as possible. I think Barney still being in the bar and Wiggum going behind Fat Tony to do that, like. There's like those premises, they sound serious, but of course the Simpsons can find a way to make that funny.
Yeah.
That's one of the tricks in doing this sort of pitching and just conceptualizing on the spot is unless we start riffing on something, we're not gonna be able to like craft the full gag of this episode of the Simpsons finale. I think a movie length one would be a good way to end the show as well.
Sure.
It doesn't necessarily have to go to
It's been around long enough. It would earn it definitely has earned the extra airtime.
No, yeah.
To do a
whenever they're ready to go, Fox could be like, you can have 2 hours. Like the whole night is yours. It's the Simpsons. It's the final day of the Simpsons. You can have the entire prime time.
I've thought it for a while. There's actually enough Simpsons. They could actually just create. Well, this was before the internet. They could have an entire cable channel that's just Simpsons.
Oh yeah,
24 hours a day.
Pluto TV does full like riff tracks and Mystery Science Theater channels. There could definitely be a Simpsons channel.
Yeah.
Just play them in order. Well, let's specifically think about the family. Like, what are the? You had talked about Bart going.
What are the endings for each of them?
Let's think of the main 5 family members and what to do with them. So go ahead and digest that for a second.
I'm sorry. I thought of another, the sort of the thing that I feel most of the episode would be about, at least for the family. Grandpa Simpson dies.
Whoa.
Yeah. That's the quote, the ending of the show.
Killing off Abraham Simpson.
Yeah.
That's very, well,
maybe that's too dark for like the happy farewell
not
to
necessarily,
the show, but
some of the more memorable things about The Simpsons has been like one of the best episodes when Homer meets his mom and then she has to leave and he sits on the hood of his car and you see the star, like he's just watching the starscape in the desert. And it's just really touching, sad, sweet moment.
Yeah. Ultimately that's what I would want to do for the ending. I would want The Simpsons to have that kind of ending because it's companion show, sister show, Futurama has ended like 3 times, and every time they do this like really heart-wrenching,
tear-jerking, not
ending.
even for finales, because look at the Luck of the Friarish or even in the one of the revitalizations where Hermes saved Bender's life from like Baby Bender was going to be chucked because he was malfunctioning,
Mhm.
and Hermes saved, and they do that montage to like a really beautiful song, and it's like, why am I crying right now?
Yeah.
The Limbo King and the beer drinking robot are making me sad. And the fact that the Simpsons leaving would elicit this. This is a huge farewell to say goodbye to these actors, to say goodbye to these characters. Yeah,
Mhm.
you would. There's no reason not just go big, but to tug at the heartstrings a little bit. I think they've
Mhm.
earned that. That it's having Grandpa Simpson pass away. Yeah, that's pretty heavy duty, but
Mhm.
there's still some jokes, some gallows humor
Oh,
that
yeah.
can be had and how that happens. And even if
That ultimately means Burns wins the Tontine.
Well, having Grandpa Simpson pass away and advancing these characters a year in their
Yeah.
lives, I think that's a fairly good premise for what to do. And I'd love to think, what can we do with the 5 main characters?
Sure.
And I'll let you
Well, that's what reminded me that was my idea, because that sort of gives a trajectory of where these characters are sort of an event for the characters to pivot around.
Sure. Great. Well, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll come back and spitball some ideas for these 5 characters.
Okay.
Sound great. Okay, we'll be right back, folks. What was that? Why did I say it that way?
Because we're a morning
Drive Time Morning Radio. All right, we'll be right back with TC in the gym.
Hey, this is Jordan Johnson. And I'm Max Olmstead. And we're at the Top Hat Balloon Show here. Yes, so it's a sketch comedy show, and it's a complete secret to everyone. Yeah, it's a super secret. It comes out weekly, but only you can know about it. Yes, you're one of the special few who we're telling about it. Yeah, so make sure you go to YouTube, iTunes, or our website, tophatballoonshow.com. Yeah, and watch our videos and subscribe, but don't tell anyone. Well, tell some people. Maybe tell some people. Maybe a few folks. Maybe only tell, each of you only tell 20 people each. Yes. Then it'll still be small and cool, but... Yeah, but it's a secret, okay? Yeah. It's a secret. Keep that in mind. The secret Tom Balloon Show, okay? Goodbye.
Hey there, podcast listeners. I am David.
And I'm Kate.
And together we host a podcast that you might be interested in if you like The Legend of Zelda.
There are lots of awesome podcasts out there and a lot of awesome Zelda podcasts out there.
That's right, Kate, and we are another one of them. In fact, that is the name of our show, Another Zelda Podcast.
And in our show in particular, we talk about some of our favorite dungeons, characters, boss battles. We do a couple top 10 lists here and there.
We have some deep dive episodes, and we even pepper in a couple quiz episodes.
We talk about our own experiences. We do some review episodes, talk about our challenges, our struggles, and our victories.
That's right. If it has to do with The Legend of Zelda, we talk about it.
You can check out our episodes on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and a lot of the other podcast services that are out there.
And you can also check out our episodes on our website, anotherzeldapodcast.com.
All right, we will see you there.
Okay, bye!
Musical number, at least one.
Oh,
There's got to be a musical
Sure.
number in here. I mean, some
Okay.
of I don't know if they've been consistent in having musical numbers here and there, but the fact that Monorail is still considered, I looked at more than one list, the best episode of The Simpsons, and it's got the whole Monorail. That song is great. It's like Simpsons. I had the Songs of Springfield CD, both editions.
nice. Yeah.
And it was just all the variations of the theme songs, and all the songs from those are like, "Hail to thee, Camp Krusty, on the shore of Snakebite Lake," whatever. The Planet of the Apes numbers, that
Dr. Zaius.
Can I play the piano anymore? Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before. There's a great behind the scenes of them talking about the creation of that episode and listening to the writers talk about the writing process and how they just were in stitches pitching these ideas of like, there's no way we're doing this, aren't we? Dr. Zaius. That's in. So you had suggested that Grandpa Simpson pass away as some sort of catalyst for the story. I like that. And I like the idea that this ultimately concludes with them advancing a year in their lives, right? In the exploration of Springfield, in seeing all the characters and saying goodbye to everybody that they possibly can, there are a handful of characters that have passed away because the voice actors have passed away. Someone like Lionel Hutz or Troy McClure, speaking of Planet of the Apes. Mrs. Krabappel, like she's passed
That's
away.
right. Yeah.
Tress McNally passed away. And being able to see those characters still in group scenes, because they haven't, Maud's the only character that's gone.
Yeah.
And that voice actress wasn't happy about that. But getting to...
Right, because she actually, the character died in the show.
Maud died, yeah. And she was not happy about that.
Yeah.
Understandably so. This isn't South Park where they kill Kenny all the time and bring him back.
Yeah.
But getting to see those characters and hear them in some capacity one last time, I think would be sweet in the finale as well.
So thinking about it, like, I think Grandpa passing, I don't know if that should be the impetus for the full season, or if that should be
whether this is the final episode or the movie or what have you. Like my season pitch that this could be a full season goodbye. Yeah. Sure, if we want to go there, I think there's no reason to believe this couldn't be contained into a 2-hour film. But you're saying the catalyst should...
Well, because I'm just the notion of if we want to do a whole a year in the life and do a whole year, to me the third act, I guess, should be Grandpa dying. Then, like I feel like because that hits closest home for the family.
True. Yes. To try to find
rather than opening the season with that and having them do a whole
sure. How about just throwing this idea out there that Mr. Burns also passes away? that Mr. Burns passing away would be like that should matter. He's a billionaire, Mr. Burns, and it's Grandpa Simpson passing away that unites the town, not the asshole Mr. Burns who's tortured this town time and time again. I don't know if that's because you mentioned their competition they had with each other.
Yeah, the World War II Tontine.
The Tontine. Well, whatever the case may be, I do think having Grandpa Simpson pass away is an interesting plot beat to play with, and
it would. I think if someone passes, it should probably just be one person.
Sure,
honestly.
sure. I was throwing Burns out there.
It could be Burns.
Burns could try to fake his death to take the attention away from Abe. Why is anyone mad that I'm dead? But you're not dead. But you're not dead, Mr. Burns. So what? So Bart, Lisa, let's discuss this. So Maggie. They've done some cute shorts with. They're all up on Disney Plus or whatnot. Maggie, her shorts have been nominated for Oscars. Like it's these nice.
Where have I been?
These nice pantomimes because Maggie can't speak. So having Gone with the Wind type parody that they've done with Maggie. One of the best Maggie episodes is her escaping from the Great Escape, where she escapes from the daycare. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And she has her rivalry with the unibrow baby. So what do you do with Maggie, right? I know like she's had her first word probably 10 times at this point.
That's why that's not important. To me, that's not important to have that be her. I think it's graduating out of being a baby.
Okay. Yeah.
So she's now a toddler.
So she doesn't have her little onesie anymore. She actually gets shorts, and she's hobbles her way into.
I don't know why. Probably an episode is making me think of it. I see her in overalls. Yeah, like passed down Bart's overalls.
Baby Lisa had I think overalls. So maybe you're just triggered by that. Yeah,
that's probably what I'm thinking of.
I don't necessarily know. Maggie is a genius. They have done enough with Maggie over the many years of the show that she is a genius. Like she's a silent, hidden genius. There's a whole book you can get about the philosophy of the Simpsons and the genius of Maggie Simpson. So having her go to school and be the cool girl and smart girl, like the fact that she could be Bart and Lisa combined is cute. Right? Like if she's going off to her first day of real school and Bart and Lisa give her pep talk. This is so weird that we're talking about this in very serious terms, but there's very easy ways to make this funny. We're just talking
For whatever reason, I still see keeping Maggie silent.
I love that. They've done that even when we see her as an adult.
Mhm.
They'll do gags of like Homer picking up the phone and going,
Yeah.
"Oh, Maggie, would you please get off the phone?" And her just going,
Yeah. Right. Seeing, obviously the unibrow kid would be there. I like the idea of, so to me, the entire point of it would be, let's tick the clock up one,
Mhm.
but also, and change things here and there to acknowledge that passage of time. But, we also want to show that, the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Yeah. And now Maggie's technically 1, so we'd take her up to 2. She's still
Sure.
a daycare age or whatnot, but
Okay. I suppose that is true. Not necessarily preschool yet.
yeah. But
Um,
being the ambiguity of her age or whatnot, like getting her, we've seen her go to daycare, we've seen her go to play dates, we've
Mhm.
seen her outs and abouts, but putting her in a position of growing up just a little bit,
Mhm.
right? That she's going from 1-year-old park to 2-year-old park, or
Sure.
this daycare to that daycare.
She gets moved out of a crib and into her own bed.
Yeah, sure. And
Something
I
like
like the idea that the more things change, the more they stay the same, which ultimately should be the end of this series, is that even though everything ticked up 1.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, South Park
After a
is
quarter of a century, don't worry, everyone. Everything
stays-
that you love will stay the
stays.
same.
South Park did this where they advanced the boys from 3rd grade to 4th grade.
Sure.
And they made a whole season about it. Like, no, they're in 4th grade. And they just status quote everything back.
Yeah.
Even getting Mr. Mackey back in there as the teacher. And it's great. So, yes, The Simpsons is treading ground that many have before. Whatever.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter. But yeah, I like the idea of Maggie getting new outfits, new look. Who dis?
Mhm. Right. How else can the like, I see Bart moving, like, if you move him definitively into like a new school,
Right.
even if he has the same classmates and stuff,
Mhm.
just give like it. Is it interesting? Would it be interesting to see Bart be in a new environment? He no longer has his old
Crew.
arch nemesis Skinner.
Yeah.
Well, no, he'd still have Millhouse. He'd still, because it's still
Nelson.
Springfield.
Yeah.
So they're all moving up kind of together.
And in the You Only Move Twice episode, we do see that the Simpsons go to another school and Bart's a complete moron because he doesn't know how to do cursive writing. He's like, do you not know? The teacher's like, do you not know cursive? Yeah, sure. Hell, damn, ass. No, that's conjoined writing. So we have seen him in a different environment like that. But I like the idea of the whole class being moved on a new teacher. And
And as far as like plots you could do with that, I'm sure it's been done. Has there been one where like the transfer to this new school, they're now the youngest kids in this new school?
new bullies.
New bullies.
Well, what I think would be
This might also be they're in an elementary school, right?
Right.
Not
Springfield.
necessarily a middle school.
yeah, it's elementary,
How old? Because the bullies are in high school, right?
junior high. They're supposed to be like 13-year-olds.
Okay.
Like Nelson is
Nelson is
been
the
held
same.
back. He's the same grade.
He's
as
in the
Bart.
same grade as Bart.
I'd throw this at you for Bart. He goes to school and like if he's sorry, tangent here, back up a little bit. When I was growing up, I went to private school and then I moved to public school.
Sure.
The overlap of the education was 1 year. So when I moved from private school to public school, I actually was like the smartest damn kid in class because I was just repeating everything I had already learned
Sure.
in my previous year.
Uh-huh.
Right. So when I went to 7th grade, I was just repeating the stuff that I had done in 6th grade in private school. So getting Bart somewhere where he actually knows what he's a good student. Not that he's become studious, but that he can keep up and he's not the little
Oh,
Ruddiger.
that's interesting. I was actually going to go the other way, and he has to deal with. He goes in thinking he's going to be king of the school, like he always has been, and there's already a king of the school here.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's been an episode where he's had to deal with that before. And
a different
I'm,
a different Bart Simpson.
Yeah, basically.
Well, getting him into a new school with the same classmates but a little different. Yeah, there's a new Skinner, right? Even feeling like the episode where Homer goes to college and he thinks the dean is supposed to be his enemy because of old 80s movies. So he just keeps like torturing this poor man who's like just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Having Bart think, okay, Skinner is gone. Now I'm facing off against the new principal, and the principal is not bad. Or maybe ends up actually being worse in some capacity. And then Bart and Skinner have to team up to take this guy down so Skinner can have his job. Super Nintendo Chalmers comes in and he's like, Skinner, I'm promoting you. But suggesting that Bart might be able to hang, what have you, I don't want to suggest that Lisa can't, right? Because
Lisa would still be in elementary school,
right? Because she's 8, so she would still be,
even if she skipped a couple grades, she'd still be, like that'd be what, fourth grade,
right? Like if she, because she's in 2nd grade in the show, so she would move up to 4th grade, and Bart would be moving to 5th. So, well, sticking Lisa in Mrs. Krabappel's classroom and having Bart-like tendencies coming out of her, where she's, well, I mean, a lot of times what happens with genius kids is that they get bored in school, right? And so they act out. I'm not suggesting Lisa become a jerk or Bart.
Well, that would suggest that it's whatever Krabappel's doing.
She's just a bad teacher. she's a bad apple.
Yeah. A Krabappel. Crabapple.
Well, Lisa being the best of the Simpsons in a lot of ways, where she's got this bleeding heart. She's destined to be president in one version of the future. She's always the voice of reason, even more so than Marge ever is. Do you put Lisa in a position of, we're going to say this like 50 more times.
Yeah.
They've probably already done it, where Lisa is the student president, or put in a position of
head of the student UN.
Yeah. Something.
Is that even a thing in 4th grade?
No, maybe Lisa could be sent abroad, like that. Instead of moving up in Springfield Elementary, she gets to go to a private school.
Maybe. So I feel like that feels like an episode of Simpsons that it
doesn't create a new status quo.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. Well, bumping them up a grades, giving them new teachers to interact with, it's the more things change, the more they stay the same kind of thing. Right? So maybe it's Marge and Homer that would, well, what do you do with the two of them?
What changes for them?
I got a suggestion right away. It just literally came to me. And they've probably done it already, Jim.
Marge gets a job?
Yes.
What job?
And Homer stays at home.
They flip roles.
That he becomes a house hubby, a house Homer, and takes care of Maggie, and Sam's little helper, and if the cat's still around at this point, and Marge goes to work for the power plant. I know we're pitching ideas that surely have existed before, but even going so far as if Mr. Burns is gone, Smithers gets his job and Marge becomes the new Smithers. Like, she's at the power plant in a position. She's the actual safety manager that Homer's supposed to be. And Homer just gets to live his best life, sitting on the couch, drinking beer and making dinner every night.
Yeah? You like that ending for
Homer?
Those characters?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Sure.
Yeah. Again, it feels like an episode, but is that the right status quo to put it at?
No, like I feel like maybe what happens is
we've seen Marge get jobs before.
That's the thing is I feel like the way that goes is it ends up being like every other time that happens is no, it returns to the status quo of Marge is happy in the home and Homer is
happy
the
working
wage maker of
the breadwinner.
That's the word.
Well, here's a thought. The very first episode of Simpsons is Santa's Little Helper. It's a Christmas episode.
Sure. I was also considering maybe doing something in that. I'm going to let you do it.
Well, no,
trying to steal it. Oh, I did it. I was thinking
Jim did it. Jim did it. The fact that this show started with Santa's Little Helper, a Christmas episode, Homer losing the family's money on gambling, and then the gift he gives the family is a dog. Right? I'm not suggesting that we repeat that. They've probably already repeated it at this point, but having it be a Christmas, end with a Christmas episode, since we started with one, gives us a season to play in allows even if it takes place over the course of a seasonal change, like the end of a school year. Here we go. End of the school year, the summer, and then starting the new school year into Christmas, if we want to pass that much time in the finale, to allow these characters in a matter of 2 hours experience a full year of their life, right? If maybe even begins, maybe not a full year or maybe a full year, but like go Christmas to Christmas and let them age up, let them have birthdays, let them get into their new schools. But in the concludes with them in the positions they've always meant to be in. Lisa's the smart one. Bart's the troublemaker. Homer is a lazy slacker who somehow dumbs his way through success. Marge is the loving housewife, and Maggie is the silent genius. All the while, the characters around them, Flanders next door, Flanders moves to the other side. He's in the whole farewell, and then he just packs up and say goodbye, Rod, and Todd, goodbye, house, goodbye, neighbors. Well, here we are, kids. Hello, house. Hello, neighbors. There we go. So then Homer could be like, man, now I have to make sure the bushes are higher on this side of So
stupid Flanders.
Stupid moving Flanders. Yeah, there you go. There's something right there. It is a matter of it shakes up but always lands right back where it's supposed to be. Because that's what the show has always done. It always maintains the status quo. Very little needle moving has ever happened. Yeah. So why not just do that again?
Sure.
Let them advance a year as you suggested. Let things change, but just sort of. Goodbye,
well, I obviously I suggested Grandpa dying, and I guess removing characters even if they moved away. Like that's a fun idea. Yeah. Like, because I think changing some things is also important. What characters might leave town, might move away.
Well, they've respectfully stopped using Apu.
Sure.
I think it'd be interesting to Apu. There's a whole documentary about it that I think is great. That would be worth finding on your own time. It's great. Replacing Apu with someone who actually is like having someone of a descent take over the the Quickie Mart, who's appropriately voiced. Because there's an episode of Apu, that involves Apu and his nephew or something, who's voiced by a comedian who is of Indian descent. There was a line of dialogue commenting on, even in very long running cartoons, they have white guys voicing us. And it was cut from the episode from the air. Sure. I don't know if it's been since put back in, but that sort of led to the documentary about Apu. So having Apu and his family leave, only to have a new family move in to essentially pick up appropriately his place. And we don't need the accent. We can literally have someone who speaks perfectly, like, doesn't have to have some
fluent English.
Have some cliched, racist, stereotypical accent. Like, we don't need that to have someone come into the Quick Trip and be like, or Quick Trip, the Quickie Mart, be like, hi, welcome to the Quickie Mart. How can I help you? And your voice sounds weird. That's
your voice is silky smooth.
That's such a beautiful voice. Your voice sounds strange. That is rude. Oh, I just meant to. So getting rid of having a character like that leave only to be replaced to maintain that status quo. Is there any characters you could think of to whisk away?
You suggested Flanders, Flanders moving to the other side. I wanted to entertain the notion of what if he did finally just move, like Flanders leaves town.
We wrote a very good joke about him moving next door, Jim. I can't believe you're editing this out of my pitch.
I'm wondering if it's more heart-wrenching to have him leave as opposed to just the
I say you set it up like the most heart-wrenching thing, that Homer and Ned finally, once again, I'm sure, come to terms and be like, "You're a great neighbor," and now, oh well, I'm gonna miss diddly this you, and then to let the swell of music happen, and then there they go. And then there they go, and then move back in. So you get your cake and you eat it too.
Okay. Well, then I say we have President Bush finally move out of Springfield.
Well, I think no, he did move out.
He did move. I was
'cause-
trying to make a joke about another neighbor because he lived across the street.
Gerald Ford lives across the
It was
street.
Gerald Ford.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
So I even messed up that joke.
Jim, you're never gonna write for The Simpsons with this
Nope.
with this attitude.
No.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what characters to get rid of or have go away.
Mm-hmm.
Bumblebee Man's show has probably already been canceled.
Well, right, because like they would have to be a certain size for it to kind of really have an impact. Like
Mhm.
if Carl or Lenny moves away, you can get some good gags there because they've done a really amazing job of creating those characters where they all very like care about each other very deeply.
Yeah.
So when they suggest something happens to one, the others freak out.
Yeah.
But clearly the audience doesn't have the same connection.
Sure, like Lenny, Carl.
So I feel like if one of them left town, moved away, it wouldn't have that sort of same impact.
Well, then there is someone who could leave town that would genuinely have an impact on the entirety of Springfield, and it's Mr. Burns. If Mr. Burns leaves, like that entire economy.
For your season, is that the thing? Like Burns moves his industry?
He's gone. Like if Burns leaves,
so you wanted to turn Homer into a house husband. He's lost his job.
yeah.
Because he can't, like, he obviously makes good money, but they can't afford to move. They can't afford to follow the nuclear power plant.
Yeah. And he could literally take the power plant.
Too depressing.
Oh no, there's some jokes to be had there that that Burns literally packs up the power plant and leaves with it.
Sure.
There's just a power plant sized hole.
Uh-huh.
There's a power plant sized hole in my heart and in the middle of town. And then how
That's where we buried the uranium.
the city would be, oh no, what are we going to do without Burns? And then it's a quick realization or a slow realization, what have you, be like, oh wait, we're perfectly fine without Burns. We'll just get solar power and we'll get wind and we'll just, not use nuclear power anymore.
Does was it Homer's brother? Was the super rich
Hank Simpson comes back?
Comes back and he
Voiced by Danny DeVito.
I mean, that's not. I don't know if that's feeling. All of these are fun, good ideas, and
right, they all feel like episodic ideas. But if Burns,
rather than
you're talking about whisking a character away, the person that I feel would have, aside from one of the Simpsons themselves, you get rid of Burns, that shakes up Springfield.
Sure.
Right. So like, because look at what the power he has, where he's literally blocking out the sun, so they're fully dependent on him and his power.
I think that I didn't want to remove a monolith to the community. I just wanted to remove someone that would make the family have a reaction. Like,
well, Burns leaving ruins
it does.
But you're saying he's too pivotal to the show.
Yeah. That's that is literally that's industry leaving. Well, the community.
Consider this
like something like Lovejoy. The
past release, yeah.
Moves, leaves, something like that. Or
you actually opened up the door for something, and you suggested Hank coming back. I think that's Homer's brother's name. If Burns leaves, there's now an open spot for any number of guest stars to come back and pitch replacing Mr. Burns in town. Scorpio can come back.
Sure.
Homer's brother can come back. There's an opportunity there too, much like when Michael Scott left The Office and they did a season of Will Ferrell was there and Idris Elba was there, and then eventually we got California, Robert California, and then Joe came in from that. So there was a rotating door for who would replace the leader. Yeah. Right. And obviously we're not going to replace Homer as the leader. No. Yeah. Right. So getting rid of Burns. So then it's who can fill this nuclear power plant sized hole in the city. Yeah. And it's just bring back every single guest star that's worth a damn.
You know what would fill in that space? A monorail.
That's a monorail guy again. Oh,
maybe it'll work this time.
The movie did a great job of bringing Al Brooks to play the voice of the bad guy, because Al Brooks has voiced many characters over the course of the series. He was having Springfield turn on the Simpsons, destroying the house, having them move all the way to Alaska and then back again. Like, they put them on a nice journey to get them back to Springfield
Sure.
and reset the status quo. So much so that the opening credits of the first episode after the movie, the city was still in ruins from the bubble. And so you get to see all of this calls to the movie as the house is getting rebuilt and whatnot.
Sure.
So the movie's gone here before in terms of mix it up and get it back to the status quo. So we have precedent. Surprise! After 30 years, who would have guessed? I like the idea of Abe passing away.
Okay.
Because that would have some impact on the family to face face mortality.
Yeah.
Even having Homer going, sorry to go, but Homer again, why not to have him go to
we have not gone to Homer. Homer having what is Homer's arc here?
talk to Ned about losing his dad and be like, oh, you have no idea what it's like to lose someone that you're so close with. And just like, yeah, Homer, I kind of like, oh no, you don't know. They're gone and you miss them and you loved them so much. It's like, yeah, I know, Homer. And I hope you never have to face this sort of pain because it hurts so much. It hurts so much to say goodbye to someone. It's like, yeah, I know. Like there's Homer being Homer and poor Ned being the butt of this joke. And having these characters who have never literally faced the advancement of time, of mortality, not really to then have to.
At least not having done it since Maud.
Yeah. Who? I don't.
Sorry. Never.
Exactly. So yeah, like having Abe pass away, but I do think there's something to getting Mr. Burns out of there as well. Because now you're taking something very close and personal, and then you're shaking up that will shake up the family. Having Mr. Burns bail, you shake up the city.
Or maybe Burns sells the nuclear power plant.
So then the plant is
so
still...
Burns leaves, but everything is still there, and the shakeup is
he's sort of
new administrators. Oh,
he sold us to the Germans and the Austrians. Like Austria is the land. German is the land of chocolate. Mr. Simpson. Mr. Simpson. Oh, what? We were talking about chocolate? That was 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
So Burns has sold the plant before. So
well, then never mind.
Well, no, there's no reason to.
Never mind.
Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna sip my water.
I'm gonna watch you. I'm gonna watch you sip your water.
I'm gonna ASMR some water.
Yep.
Do your crunching chip thing. That's so gross.
That's gross.
Okay, I actually thought of another way to explore the entire town. Okay. We can do all of this.
Mm-hmm.
We could have Grandpa pass away. We can have something with the plant that shakes up the whole town. And the one character we can use to see it all, to traverse the entirety of Springfield, is Santa's Little Helper. He's not that we need to see it from his POV, but to get us from one place to another. If Santa's Little Helper goes missing, Homer has to find him.
Our narrative guide.
He's Santa's Little Helper as a missing dog that Homer has to find. Now we have Homer sent on a journey as well. And tying it back to the sweetness of how the show really began as just a sitcom that touched on family problems and marital issues. That wasn't always the wackiness that it is. It did have some schmaltz to it to begin with. That Homer is not facing the loss of his father. He's just trying to find the dog the entire time. And I know that we're dealing some heaviness here, but
sure,
his inability to acknowledge the loss of his dad because he's so fixated on finding the dog, we can send Homer and Santa's Little Helper around town to see everyone.
Sure.
Those two characters both allow us to travel the entire town until Santa's Little Helper comes home, Homer comes home, and they're able to, be together as a family. And as we've already discussed, them sitting on the couch and pulling back and seeing the opening credits in reverse in some capacity.
No, literal reverse.
Those big things, those big plot devices, the loss of a family member, the something happened with a plant that requires a shakeup of the town, missing Santa's Little Helper. those three alone give us a reason to explore this entire and advancing them one more year.
Yeah.
That allowing this story to take place over the course of a number of months, or if Santa's Little Helper goes missing and he's gone for a long time.
I am. So we wanted to explore what we were going to do with all 5 characters. We did not talk about Marge.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I mean, we threw out there that
I don't
she
know what
gets
to
a
do with
job.
Marge, because all the things I can think of feel like just normal episodic. Like, I'm sure there's
Marge
even an
gets a
episode
job.
where she's even done like Avon or Tupperware
Yeah.
type. What are they called?
Like Mary Kay.
LML or
S&M?
no, MLM sales. I forget what they're called.
Right. She's Tupperware, Mary Kay, whatever.
Yeah.
We've seen her as a cop. We've seen
Mhm.
Marge has gotten a job more than once.
Yeah. So maybe that's not the right arc for her, but I don't know
Yeah. What do you do with Marge?
what would be.
Because you could advance Bart another grade and Lisa another grade and have some things to do there. You can send Homer on an adventure like a fool around town, and
Mhm.
you have something to do there. What is the?
Because remind me, her mom has died,
Her father has passed, but
but her mom is still alive, just
I believe
off
so.
home somewhere else.
Yeah.
What if what if her mom wants to? They've done that before as well,
yeah,
haven't they?
The grandparents
Having
moving
family
in.
family move in.
Yeah, Patty and Selma are still around. What like thinking about Marge being the brains of the operation in terms of keeping that household together.
Sure.
She's done everything. She's had jobs. She's substitute taught at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Homer's
Or
done.
I mean, if we could go a whole different route. Some of the things we can keep here. What if the Simpsons, to introduce a sobering, realistic, sad American truth, or not truth, but a realism
Mhm.
on them, their house is foreclosed on.
Oh, what?
I don't exactly know what those terms mean, but it basically they lose their home
Mhm.
to not like a crazy disaster or something.
A bank.
Yeah. And so they have to,
homie,
they
what'd
don't
you do
necessarily
now?
they don't have to move across the country.
Yeah,
Like a lot of people, they just need to move somewhere else in the city, in the town.
sure. What does that do with Marge, though?
Maybe she's, because no one else is, like, Homer has abandoned her to go look for the
Santa's
dog
Little Helper.
and avoid the death of his father.
Yeah.
She's alone in basically moving the family.
That's,
God, that
so
sounds so
sad.
depressing,
What
yeah.
are you doing? You know what?
I don't know.
It reminds me of a.
I'm pitching ideas
It
here.
reminds me of a quote from The Simpsons.
Oh,
There's an episode where they have an Indian casino and Marge gets obsessed with doing the slot machine, and then Lisa's supposed to have a state like costume, and Homer makes it
yes,
for her,
Florida.
and it's terrible.
Yeah.
and Homer confronts her about her gambling problem, and he's like, I love this quote. It's you disappointed your daughter. I'm not going to do the impression. You disappointed your daughter, and she cried, and then I cried, and then Maggie laughed. She's so strong. So I don't think I don't.
One I remember. Sorry, you're going somewhere with this, but I want to share the quote I remember, which is, "Kids, your mother has been taken over by a terrible monster known as Gambler."
I don't think
And I butchered that quote.
I don't think foreclosing on the house and having that sad thing happen is the way to go. I think as Marge has been the rock of the family for all this time, that she is there and ready to. She is there. She is present. She's Homer go off on his adventure, but not that I would just want to stick Marge at home and she doesn't do anything. But she's just one of my favorite Marge moments is Lisa's being bullied at school and she's just sad. Lisa's sad.
Mhm.
I think it might even be the name of the episode. And they're trying to figure out what's wrong. And Marge drops Lisa off at school and she says, honey, just smile. Even if you don't want to, just smile and everything will be okay. Just smile. And Lisa gets out of the car and she goes towards the school and she's bullied and she puts on like a fake smile, and Marge sees this and she runs out and she like tells the kids off and she grabs Lisa and she's like, you don't have to smile. You can be sad if you want to. I'm so sorry. And Lisa's smiling because her mom just came to her rescue. And she's like, I told you don't have to smile. You don't have to fake smile. And she's like, Mom, it's not a fake smile. It's a real smile. I love you. And it's like this super sweet moment. And it's just that Marge is there. She's present. She's this wonderful mom who takes care of everyone in the family. Even going so far as when Who Shot Mr. Burns, and they're like, there's Simpson DNA at the site. And she's like, Lisa's like, well, that means it can't be you, Mom. And she's like, no, when I married your father, I became a Simpson right down to my DNA. I took everything.
And that's a wonderful notion. It's a wonderful idea, but in the actual execution of, obviously, I guess we could, in the writing of this finale, that could be more actively presented. But in talking this out, like saying her arc is no arc. Her arc is making sure everyone is okay. She's the Deus Ex Marge.
And that could be the name of an episode.
It could. And that like, right, that sounds great, but I feel like in execution, and it ends up just being, oh, you did nothing with that character. Well, no, they're there. They're the solid base. Oh, you're saying they're boring and static and
yeah. Okay. Well, if we and
so like I said, that doesn't mean that in the actual writing of this theoretical ending, Marge couldn't be written into everyone's stories. Like the first thing that occurs to me is she would have some conflict with Maggie moving up. She's no longer being an infant, now becoming a toddler, now running around the house. So more to deal with, but also Marge has to deal with that's she's not going to have any more infants, no more 2-year-olds might still be
change everything. But the growing up, the senior kids grow up kind of thing. All right, you might be onto something there. If she's juggling,
that's such an internal issue.
But though. Let's see if we can extrapolate from that. If she's dealing with Maggie's now running around, Maggie's now moving and grooving, going off to pre-K,
becoming independent,
right? Yeah, and so she's actively trying to take like baby-proof the house for Maggie while making sure she goes. All right, so that's one thing she's juggling with. Homer just lost his dad and he keeps running off to try to find this dog. So she's worried about him, and he comes home and wants to support him. So now she's also dealing with that. Bart going on to school and proving himself to be, if you want to go this way, of being capable and smart. Not that he's an advanced kid now, but he's doing so well that he's getting more homework and he's taking school more seriously. So now she's juggling with that. And
that one, like, sorry to interrupt. That one I don't feel is a stress. That would be a delightful joy for The Simpsons.
Sure.
I feel like a better arc for Bart is he has to deal with this new environment where there are already established alphas.
Sure.
So maybe he starts acting out more.
He's like,
I don't know how Bart acts out more though, without it just becoming criminal.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm Milhouse.
Right. And that
Mom,
could be
am I
fun.
a nerd? It could be funny.
Yeah. It could. Maybe Milhouse starts becoming popular because now in this new school he's found a way, or kids like the kids they're also like pogs. I don't know.
Well, what I was trying to get to is that if Marge is trying to help everybody, like that she's literally there to help everyone, the family coming to a realization of everything that Marge is doing can thank her for it. So like you take such good care of us. We love you for it. We want to take care of you as well.
So is her like her the idea is she takes on so much, and then what she, like does it overwhelm her? Is that her kind of climax?
I don't know what to do if she is juggling the problems of all four of the others, Lisa, Maggie, Bart, and Homer. And
Thank you for naming them.
You're welcome. Yeah, I just wanted to be clear which four I was talking about. And I'm sure they've already done an episode even called Marge Goes Missing. But if she just she is trying to take care of everything.
I'm pretty sure she's been at her wit's end multiple times.
Yeah. Do we want to do that to her again?
Yeah, that's the thing that comes to mind, is that she's so overwhelmed that she kind of has a breakdown.
Yeah.
And the rest of the family is like, oh, maybe we should help Mom.
Yeah. Yeah. that thanking her for being the matriarch of their full family for so long.
Is that a good arc? like that all of their stresses overstress her?
Let's comedy this up a little bit. Let's and okay, so
we're doing The Simpsons a very special episode.
A very special episode. If excuse me, if she reaches her tipping point and has a nervous breakdown and Homer comforts her and is like and she's like, oh, I try so hard and I worry all the time. And Homer's like, well, just don't worry. You don't have to. Don't worry. It's like, do you think I worry? Like, I worry about you and I worry about the kids, but at the end of the day, I don't worry. And she's like, don't worry. And then having this tangential montage of Marge just doing everything like Homer, like what would Homer do kind of thing, where she takes Homer's advice too literally of like, just do what I do. That she's like, okay, what would Homer do? She's drinking beer at Moe's and she's like,
I at least
Homer.
Want to see that episode. I actually think that'd be a fun episode.
She embraces her inner Homer. We can do callbacks to all like the greatest moments of Homer, where she's like, even just as something of like, what would it be like to stick a crayon so far up my nose it lodges in my brain? Okay, I won't be that much like Homer. Something
maybe
that she okay. Them coming to an understanding of how reliant they are on her to keep the family together, but also her coming to realization of they're becoming more self-reliant. Bart, Lisa, and Maggie at the very least. Maggie being the representation of that self-reliance.
Yeah.
The reason she's coming to her wit's end isn't that she's juggling everything, is that she's actually juggling less.
Sure.
And so then Homer
so
saying
maybe
like,
now she's beginning to meddle.
No, she's always been a meddler. I mean, even the monorail, Marge versus the monorail versus the bordello, she's always been meddling in what everyone else enjoys. But I mean, even actually, come to think of it, in the Scorpio episode, she doesn't have anything to do. The house takes care of itself. All the family's taking care of itself. So she just sits alone for a second and she just pulls a bottle over to her and uncaps it and just starts drinking.
That's right. Yeah.
So she's had a drinking problem and a gambling problem.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've come to any sort of conclusion of what to do with Marge. Pause. Pause for silence. Okay, continue.
Okay, there's ideas in there. Yeah, I'm sorry we don't have a definitive. This is her arc for this finale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, being there in the end for Homer at the very least, because she is such a good mom and she is such a good provider and she is the glue that holds his family together. That when Homer does finally, like, he can't find Santa's little helper. Maybe he ultimately gives up and and it's basically you have to let it go.
Oh, that's his breakdown moment?
Yeah, and that she is there for him to say, homie, it's going to be okay. And then...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm like, it's not funny. That's the problem. I'm imagining the breakdown where he is like, I can't find him. I can't find him. I've lost him.
Yeah.
I've lost him. I've lost him forever.
Oh.
I'm never going to see him again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Having that in, but you can lace that in.
What? We've done this for 3 years, and the Simpsons episode is the one where I choke up and get teary-eyed. What is happening?
I choked up earlier too.
Are we not good at? We should be laughing.
Okay, I'll suggest that in that moment of Homer breaking down and having that, and Marge being there for him, it's joking your way into it, and then having the reality, and then joking your way out of it. That you can have this really tear-jerking moment of Homer saying that I'll never find him, I'll never find him again. I've lost him forever, kind of thing. And Marge comforting him, and she's saying it's okay. You can some sort of. I'm having trouble finding words for it. But then Homer saying like I look over here and I see like there's my TV and that I appreciate that. And there's Maggie and I appreciate her. And there's Santa's little helper and I love him. And, you know, and there's a lot of things around me that I really love. There's beer over there and I love that. And it's like, let him just keep listing it. Like the third thing was Santa's little helper, but he's going to need 15 more things.
Keep going on. Sure.
Like, and then, and he keeps like the finger point, like we see POV of him like pointing around him and just keeps passing Santa's little helper. Like at one point passes him, he's licking his butt, and then he passes me and he's scratching, like he's like laying on his belly or laying on his back, and it's all around the room. It's like
you know, all the way to like he finishes and he like puts his head in his hands and he's sobbing.
I love
and
it.
Santa's little helper comes up and starts licking him and he's like,
Marge, not now.
Oh, sure.
What were you gonna say?
I was thinking he would say something like, "Not now, Santa's little helper. I can't find Santa's little helper."
Yeah, that's better.
Something better. Like that.
Yeah. Oh, homie, look. And then Santa's little helper is there, and he's and so you have him. Oh, that's really sweet, and it's funny. Oh man, I really like that he comes to that saying goodbye type moment, and that we have Santa's little helper comes back in the end without. He just comes home.
Yeah.
And what would be great, which is a good callback to one of the best episodes of the Meteor moment, is when Santa's little helper goes missing, Homer could lazily not get up and be like, he'll just come back in the end and we won't even realize he was ever gone. Right? Because like he predicts the meteor will burn up in the atmosphere and then it happens. And he's like, you guys realize it's exactly what Dad said would happen. I know, kids. I'm scared too. So having him, his very first reaction is, I'm sure the dog will come back. To be correct in the end is a good callback to a Homerism from the past. Yeah. So that gives Marge.
So Marge's arc is Homer's arc.
Well, just that she is there to support and love and be the glue, as I said. She's the matriarch of this family. She is the Simpsons. Like she took it all on, name and everything, DNA and all. And I don't know if we've exactly crafted precisely what to do with Lisa and Bart, giving them their struggles in their new worlds. I think you're onto something with Bart's new environment, changing him.
Maybe just going back to Marge for a second. What if, so because Homer is deflecting and avoiding all these things, if Abe dying is sort of the impetus, Marge is left to deal with that stuff. So Marge gets to deal with the funeral home
arrangements,
the old folks home, getting all of his stuff out. And in doing that, she talks to not only all the old people there, but like her mom contacts her, and Patty and Selma bother her about
make sure you get all his gold coins.
Yes, stuff like that. Like maybe that's more of her active arc. I don't know if that's fun or exciting. Like
there's fun to be
The Simpsons deal with death.
Right, like but it does add to that. She's juggling everything kind of thing, right? So seeing her handle all these things, and maybe we could have the montage of her breaking down, doing what Homer would do for a day, and then getting back to being responsible. I think there's something there. Bart and Lisa, you suggesting that they have new environments to be challenged by. Of course, we've seen that before. I should reference a handful of episodes. The episode where Lisa is in Bart's grade was referenced earlier.
What would be a more personal challenge for them? That's why I was thinking, it's challenging Bart's status quo and trying to get him back to being the cheeky troublemaker,
right?
But also not. I don't know.
Having him lose his position as Bart. I'm this generation's Dennis the Menace, as he once said 30 years ago. Going to having a new teacher, having to deal with that, having to deal with new students, new class members or whatnot. This would be tough, but it might. I'll pitch it here that if the new teacher doesn't tolerate him or his shenanigans because it's not fun, what have you, getting Principal Skinner and Mrs. Krabappel back into the exact same positions that they used to be for Bart, there's a familiarity there of like. Even Skinner saying as soon as he gets back into being the principal of this new school, Krabappel being his teacher again, having Skinner being like, once Bart has his enemy back, Skinner would be like, yeah, I miss this. Not that I'd ever admit that to you.
That'd make a decent gag. I don't. My only concern is that too
simple, too easy.
Yeah,
too easy.
Too.
Well, okay. Oh, I'll throw a different curveball here because we've lost the voice of Mrs. Krabappel and we can't actually have her come in and do new stuff. We can lose the new teacher. Skinner does have his teaching certificate. Makes Skinner his teacher.
Skinner gets back in the game.
Skinner is his teacher.
Maybe.
Then he has his enemy again.
It's not really a challenge for Bart. It's more just, hooray! I'm Peter Pan every day.
I got my enemy back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why I was thinking it would be, and of course he's always had to deal with bullies, but not really bullies, I guess. Having to deal with a new social structure and finding himself at the bottom.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure they've also done episodes where that has happened as well.
Yeah. The Scorpio episode is a perfect example of that as well. I don't know. We've even had Bart being homeschooled because he was so disruptive at school. That's been done before.
Have they done a Bart has ADD episode?
Yes, they have. Yeah.
And so, like, whatever therapist is, instead of reacting to his shenanigans in a cheeky cartoon manner, they're like, and why did you feel the need to lash out?
I don't know. My horrible home life. My mom had a gambling problem.
Sure. Or the idea that, like, somebody just gives Bart some positive reinforcement and suddenly he's like, oh, no, I guess I'll be good. Like, that's not funny or fun.
Right. Those make a good episode.
Yeah.
But does it give us the conclusion of Bart Simpson? Well, travel back to the beginning. Bart was this smart mouth little rebel. And in 89, he was a little bastard, but
cowabunga, man.
Yeah. Now eat my shorts, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward 30 plus years. We've got South Park. We got Stewie Griffin. We have such a different caliber of awful that Bart is chased by comparison. And I'm not saying he needs to rise to the occasion of Rick and Morty, or he doesn't need to rise to that level. And I don't think there's a place for that.
Would there be fun in that? Is that an episode that's been done where he goes to this new school and there are other troublemakers to the point that, like, he's trying to do stuff and they just are doing straight up crimes?
Well, unfortunately, South Park did it because there's an episode where Cartman meets Bart and Bart tries to say, like, I did this. I cut the head off the statue of our town founder. Oh, that's nice. I made a guy eat his parents.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But so to the end, I guess I'm starting to come around to your notion that he starts excelling.
Yeah.
Like, basically because Bart isn't able to dominate the niche of troublemaker.
Yeah.
Now he's just
has
like
a slingshot. Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Bart seems like with that character, he wouldn't back down though, right? Like, Bart's the type of character where he would say, "Okay,
yeah,
he's
Bugs Bunny.
I'll meet the challenge."
He's Bugs Bunny. Like, he will rise to the challenge and try to come out on top in the end. Right?
Yeah.
Having him start to excel. I mean, the birth of a supervillain here. If he loses out to these bullies and he's getting beat down and he's not cool enough anymore, so then he finds that because he can't screw around, he's actually excelling in school. Is all just, I'm getting into Eric Cartman territory here. Once he's positioned himself as a good student with good credit and good trustworthiness, then he can pull off a prank.
The ultimate prank.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a good way to go with Bart necessarily, but he did start, if to go from the origin of the character, he was this little shit who needed to go to detention. It's just after 30 years of other troublemaking kids, he, like I said, he's watered down, he's chased, he's simple. So,
the only other idea would be to somehow go back to jumping the gorge.
Trick everyone. And I'm in Cartman territory here, but basically, you think you're tough, I jump this gorge, bullies. Like, literally calling back to previous events that took place decades ago and having all these kids, like, try to jump their bikes over the gorge. And it's like, No.
Yeah, no, that
He
is
murders
way
all-
that is
that's
way
what I'm
too
saying.
that's much too Cartman.
Well, we should start wrapping up here. Like,
it's-
what do we do with Lisa as well as like having her just successfully? Okay, wait, we might have something here. We might have something here. If Bart is just fades into the background, almost reflecting what he is as a character in pop culture in his new school, he's just nothing. He's nothing special anymore, right?
Sure.
That's an existential crisis
That's his
for him.
conflict.
That's yeah. Lisa, on the other hand, is perfectly thriving. She's comfortable in her next grade. She has the same class members. She doesn't have conflict. It's easy for her. Using her smarts to figure out what Bart can do to basically feel better about himself teams the two of them up. In that she'll always, and it's funny that we have Marge there for Homer, and that the family's always there comes together for Marge. That Lisa is that good of a sister that she'll always take care of her brother, and she can find a way for Bart to be Bart Simpson. You see?
Are we possibly? Are we leaving them out of the like if their grandfather just died?
Sure.
Would that not be something they would have to deal with in a way as well? Like, wouldn't they also be looking for Santa's little helper in their way?
Well,
basically, I'm wondering if we're missing the forest from the trees.
Having Bart
rather than just being like, oh, if we're gonna step them up a grade, have it revolve around that. Like, we might not have to do that. We could have it be some other issue in town.
Well, it can because we're dealing with a finale here. It can be multiple things.
That is true.
The loss of their grandfather is certainly something they're going to have to face. Lisa being there for Bart to help him become Bart Simpson again, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can also be the one to have a conversation about mortality, and she's going to be the one who can accept death the easiest.
Sure.
We would go back to early, like first season. Lisa Simpson loses Snowball 1.
Yeah.
To be replaced with Snowball 2.
She loses her jazz mentor.
Gums Murphy. She also has dealt with death before. She's the most intelligent to deal with death. So she can help guide Bart through that as well. This is so strange we're talking about Simpsons characters.
It is.
And I know this isn't necessarily funny, but getting them on a similar path. Well, Homer's got to deal with the big issue of losing his father.
Yeah.
So strange. Lisa using her abilities to help Bart become Bart Simpson. I'm not saying she helps him pull off a prank. She helps him find his place in the world, being the good sister that she is. Because this is America. This is TV's family. They have been around long enough that you can point to Full House or you can point to whatever Modern Family, whatever you want to do. The Simpsons is the world's family, so it makes sense that all these stories would revolve around being there for each other.
Yeah.
So I think whatever conflict we want to put Bart through in his trying to find his place, and Lisa and Bart have been there for each other in future versions. President Lisa is a good example.
Initially, that's why I started thinking, what if there was something else? Like, what if their conflict was not having to deal with necessarily their new school circumstances? What if they had a shared plot? Like over here, I don't know. I don't have a thing like there's a murder mystery that they must solve.
They've done it again.
That's not MacGuffin X is
sure.
Really. I don't know what it would be though. That's what I was thinking of.
A grandpa left behind a treasure map, and Bart's obsessed with finding grandpa's treasure.
The taunting.
Yeah. Simpsons did it. Well. We're leaving a lot on the table here that I think works. We're leaving a lot of unanswered questions because how do you culminate decades of a show into something? But I think there's enough here that if we were to have to sit down and write a 2-hour movie with these elements here, there's more than enough here for us to bring The Simpsons to a conclusion.
Yeah.
And to go all the way back to what I initially said, I'm going to clear my throat right here for a minute. Excuse me.
I mean, we didn't even discuss what's going to happen with Snake.
Yeah, right.
The local
Disco
criminal.
Stu. What's going to happen to him?
Oh, God. Yeah.
Sherry and Terry, the twins. What happens to them? Whatever
Does
the case
Disco
may
Stu
be.
become New Wave Stu?
That the way we leave the family, the way we leave Springfield is that it will exist forever.
Yeah.
These characters do not have conclusions.
No.
They just have the end of this chapter and on to the next, as The Simpsons always has. Has always had. And that's how we leave them. We leave them with one final couch gag. We've said goodbye to the city, and we pan out and go back through the clouds and get the Simpsons one last time. And I think that is how the Simpsons should say goodbye, is by not definitively saying the end. It's just on to the next day.
Yep.
Or as we've done with this in this story, on to the next year.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel good about that.
Me too.
So weird, heavy, deep conversation for The Simpsons, but
wow,
I did not expect it to go that way. I'll tell you that. Well, Paul, was it? Yes, Paul. Let us know what you think. Let us I'd love to know what the listeners think of this.
You watched 700 episodes.
Yeah, you are more of an expert than we are.
I hope we weren't just a wet blanket on your.
He's just
your
like
binge of it.
You could just sit. Anyone listening to this who's seen that much Simpsons go, that's been done. That's been done. That's been done. That's been done. Boy, these guys have no original ideas in their bones. But that does it for this episode. I'd love to know if we did meet the demand. So hit us up if you agree or disagree, and if you think we missed anything, whatever the case may be. You can message us directly at studiodemandsit.com or on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Studio Demands It. If you are not already, you can subscribe on all your pod forms and podcatchers of your choice, and it helps out the algorithm. What do people do, Jim? Leave us a review.
Oh, sorry.
You zoned out. Where were you?
I'm trying to, because you said we need to, like, it needs to be a music. We have to have a musical number. So I was trying to think of what musical number we could do. And I know that they've done at least, they've probably done them all, not necessarily in the same episode, but I realized a model that we could use for the entire thing. It's very shorthand, so maybe this isn't the way to go, but we could do Fiddler on the Roof. With The Simpsons,
they have gone there.
But that kind of fits what. Obviously, they're not marrying off their three children, but like they're all wanting. All the kids are wanting to move on, and the parents are reluctant to let them do what they want to do.
Homer or Marge can talk to Krusty, who would then talk to Rabbi Krusty's father. I can't remember. Christopher. Krusty's dad. Rabbi Krusty's dad. No, the musical number is easy. Yeah. The Simpsons, we are the Simpsons, and these are the lyrics to the show that you never knew. All right. If you want to give us a review, a 5-star review, it really helps on Apple Podcasts, and you can do it in app, and it helps the show in the algorithm. You can reach me at TC's Big Head.
Me.
You can reach Jim there too. If you have any messages for Jim, send them to me. I'll pass them along. All your love letters, he gets them. Okay,
I do. I do.
I particularly understand that you want Jim to get your nudes, but I don't need them. So you need to find a better way to send those. So thank you to 6'5 Media for everything you do for us. That's it for this episode. We'll be back again to challenge the world of cinema and storytelling and television and improve the world of those things. If anything you also want to say before I do?
What happens to Otto?
Otto Man. All right, I'm TC.
I'm Jim.
And this is the end of the Studio Demands It. That you're listening to.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for listening.
We'll see you next time.
No, we're done.